Okay. Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining. This is our very first kickoff event. I think we're still missing a few people by the looks of things, but no worries. We can get started. I'm sure people will join as we go along. I hope everyone has had a lovely weekend and is ready to get going on this journey together. I think, as most of you obviously know by now, I'm Helen. I'll be leading you through the next 9 weeks. And by now you should have all been able to join the platform, have a quick look around, hopefully, and prepare some questions potentially. The purpose of this session is for us all to meet each other and say hello, but equally for me to give you a bit of a run through of how the platform works, answer any questions around that. And then towards the end, we will all set our intention for this week, and we'll come back at the end of the week to dig a bit deeper into that. We'll be running these accountability sessions every couple of weeks, so that we're all aware of what we've committed to over the preceding couple of weeks. Obviously, some accountability around that, hopefully on a public level, and then also outlining what our priorities are moving forward. This is something that worked really well in the last cohort. I think as all of us as solo founders, this can be one of the most challenging things, is just sticking to what you say you're going to do, right? So this is what we're here for. This is part of the community and the value that we bring each other in this space. So before I offer the floor up for any questions, I'm just going to share my screen quickly and just take you through the platform. I've seen most people register, so I think we have everybody in. As you'll see, we've got, I think, 13, 14 founders this time. Not everybody is going to make all of the sessions. That's never the case, but everything is recorded. Everything is made available for catch up, and we have cheat sheets for everything. So if you miss something, don't worry, it can be found within the platform, and I'm going to show you where that is. And generally speaking, our WhatsApp group is the space where we can ask each other questions, and particularly if we've lost something or we need to find out some more information, as well as obviously sharing our progress and our updates. So this is our welcome page. You should all be able to see this on your screens when you log into the platform as well. It's just a bit of background, which I think we will have run through when we had our calls together, our individual calls together previously. But if there's anything surprising there, then please shout. This is your feed. So I don't know if any of you spotted this morning, you had a little welcome message pop up from me, just with some background and insights into how today is going to run and how we'll move forward. You should also have had, when you logged in, a quick kind of check-in list with a little list of things for you to do first. One of those things is to introduce yourself. I can see here several of you who created your profiles, which is brilliant. Have a look at that. Make sure that you've got all your information on there, because that's how other people find you within the platform and how you can also connect with some of the experts that are in there. If you have a look through the members, you'll see that. But equally, it's how we obviously get to know each other a little bit better. WhatsApp isn't always great for very long passages or very long introductions. So please do your introductions, and you can do that just down here, which you should all be able to access. You'll see some of the previous cohort members here as well, and some of them are still in the platform, so feel free to reach out. Our community guidelines are here. Please have a look through that. It just gives us all a sense of how we're going to take this forward, how we expect to communicate with each other. I have obviously spoken to you all individually. Some of you I know quite well. I'm very careful about who I select to come into this community, because it is meant to be an open, transparent, vulnerable space. So we want people who we feel we can trust, and there are some boundaries and some guidelines here to help with that. So please have a look through that. If you feel that isn't being respected at any point, then please feel free to flag that as well. Your events are really the keystones of how the community runs and comes together. Always in the background, there is that sense of knowledge and learning and growth through the videos, the resources, the templates, and I will give you some guidance on how to use those as well, because I don't want that to feel too overwhelming or that you have to do everything all at the same time. That's absolutely not the case. We'll go through that shortly, but that should all be available to you now. But this is where we really start to help each other. It really is where a lot of the value of what the Founder Sanctuary is about is brought, because it's about supporting each other. It's not always going to be me that has the answers to everything. You should be able to find answers from your fellow cohort members and support, whether that be mindset or even business support, there as well. So this is where we start to build that sense of community and go through some of these challenges and find some of these solutions together, along with some of the experts that I'm obviously bringing into the space. So we'll have our week 1 check-in, which will be more of an accountability session later on this week. But then we'll be running through our typical events every few weeks. So the roundtable sessions is where I ask for your challenges. I want you to send me what your key challenges are at the moment, and you will get a chance to pitch those to the group and for everybody to help you to move through those. Our co-creation sessions that were super successful and really, really helpful last time is where we all commit to working on our business, not in our business, for an hour across particular themes, and we can decide those themes together. They're not necessarily prescribed. I definitely have some ideas, but I'll be putting up polls so that you guys can vote on that to figure out what's going to be most useful for this particular cohort. And then we have our mastery sessions, which are every few weeks with some of my experts, mentors, advisors who will come in. The first one is specifically around mindset. And again, I want to tailor those sessions for you guys. What worked for the last cohort may not 100% work for this cohort. You're all very different personalities from very different backgrounds and industries. So I just want to make sure that everything works well. So you'll see some polls pop up on the daily feed, which is just here. And they will be asking you what's most interesting to you, and we'll obviously go with the majority. And if you can't make those sessions, don't worry, they're all going to be up on the recordings as well. Just to flick back to here for a second, this is your foundation of the platform. You should be able to see all of this now. If you can't, please let me know. These are really the fundamentals of building any business. I have, as many of you know, built 2-3 businesses now, and whether they are service-based, whether they're tech-based, whether they're based in the Middle East, whether you're targeting the US or the UK, the fundamentals of building a business are exactly the same, and you need to understand these elements essentially. So this is best practice. It is taken not only from my experience of building businesses, but from the 3 accelerators that I went through. And it's also hopefully filling in some gaps that were not covered in those accelerators around things like mindset and momentum and personal growth, which if you're not focusing on as a founder, is going to make that business super difficult from a sustainability perspective, from an energy perspective, and nobody wants that. You really are the fuel behind your business, and we want to make sure that that's working well. So as I said, you do not have to do all of these in one go. I would recommend, if you can get through the first few lessons this week, the next few lessons the next week, and run it like that, that would work really well, because aside from going through the videos, you'll also find in here the workouts, the templates, the resources, which support your growth and your learning as you go along. And I would also recommend reading the relevant parts of the book as well, so that it really is kind of ticking all the boxes from watching and listening, reading, but also doing and putting some of those things into practice. And I would love to hear, obviously, how you're getting on and sharing some of those potential light bulb moments or areas of progress in the WhatsApp group. That's really what it's all there for. So I don't want you to feel too overwhelmed by all of the stuff that's in here. Do not feel that you have to get through this in the first week. It is there for the next 12 weeks for you. So even when we finish the sessions at the end of the 9 weeks, I'll keep this available And I guess that kind of runs us till Christmas, basically. I'll keep this available until then for you. So you've got plenty of time to revisit. When we move down here, we've done daily feed, we've done introduce yourself. We're on the accountability sessions now. These are your the other sessions that I mentioned. And then I want to just quickly highlight the replay sessions, because this is where all the recordings will be kept. So here you'll be able to find not just the recordings, but also the cheat sheets that are associated with those recordings. Now, again, this may look a bit overwhelming because this is not every single session from last time, but quite a number of them. They're there optionally. I think the good thing about building on the Founder Sanctuary cohort by cohort is that it's not just the learnings from the people around you in this cohort, it's the learnings from all of those who've been before as well. And there were a lot. There were a lot of kind of moments where I think people really had some breakthroughs, and there was a lot of growth there. So I would recommend, if you have time, to go back through this, or at least to look at the cheat sheets and make sure that you're aware of that. Again, this will all be available to you for the next 12 weeks, and we will be adding to this as we go. You can typically expect the recordings to be up within a day, 2 days max, after our sessions. So you'll see everything there, and you'll get notified as well through the platform. The final thing to say, I think, is that we typically communicate via the WhatsApp group. I think you're all on that now. I will definitely be adding materials, posts in this space here. So do keep an eye on that. But I know most people are on WhatsApp. We are all very busy, and sometimes it's very difficult to add another platform to check into your daily agenda and to remember to do that. So I don't expect you to follow this platform day to day necessarily, but this is where you're going to find all the content. This is where all the sessions are going to be run out of. So I would recommend having a look at the events and making sure that you've basically RSVP to everything, so that it's in your calendar. Some of these times are going to change, because I've already had some people who've come in and said, look, you know, I can't do sessions at this particular time. Can we move some to later in the day? We have a founder who's in New York, for example, for whom this is too early. So I want to make sure that as many people as possible can get into these sessions. So I'll probably move at least some of them to later on in the day. So just keep an eye on that. But if you've RSVP'd, then it will automatically change the time for you and you're not going to miss anything. So I would highly recommend doing that. And I think for now, that is it. There are a few of you I know who are going to do some one-to-ones with me. I'll reach out to you separately, and just to let everybody else know, that's a pretty standard part of this platform as well. Obviously, people have very different businesses and very different needs. So typically speaking, probably 50% of the cohort will do one-to-one with me at some point, and I offer a ridiculously reasonable rate, to be honest, on that, just for you guys. So if you do want to do some one-to-ones, reach out and we'll get those booked in as well. I know we've got a few already that I need to do that with, so let me know. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to open the floor to you guys. First of all, I think I would like any questions, any kind of confusion, any issues that have come up since you've registered or would like to know anything, and then I think we'll go around the room and do our intros and our little commitments for this week. Good. I'm glad I've explained that well enough then. So there's no questions. Excellent. That's what I like to see. Good. All right. So in that case, I am going to start with Marlene in the top right-hand corner, who you guys will know as Marms. I know as Marlene because we used to work together quite a few years ago. But I need to remember to change that. But yeah, go for it.
Hi, as Helen said, I'm Marlene. Everyone knows me as Moms because my name gets butchered and people don't know how to pronounce it. I've had everything from marmalade to goodness knows what my name could possibly be. But I am a scale-up strategist, and I come from a background starting as a Girl Friday back in my very, very early teens. and worked my way up to chief operating officer, not compliance officer. That's my husband. Chief operating officer. I've always worked with startups and with small entities, and I've seen a very repetitive way of managing and also working with these startups that they do not scale. They either go out of business or they make it. And this is all based off their systems and their processes. So I am the systems magician, as they call me, and I am literally the puzzle piece to your big puzzle of your business to help you grow and scale. I offer B2B programs, mentorship programs, as well as VA services that I have a team that supports me with that. So yeah, that's a little bit of me.
Okay, amazing. Thank you. And if there's one thing that you would like to focus on this week, that you think would be achievable by Friday, is there something that you'd like to throw into the ring?
So right now there are some of my workshops that I'm trying to build out, or my mentorship programs that I'm trying to build out, and I'm trying to differentiate what it is I offer across the 4 different ones that I have, like what is too much, what is too little, and what that program looks like. Because that's relatively new offering. I've got one completely built out. But a few of them that I still need to tailor make it and see what it is I offer to my clients in that sense.
Okay, makes sense. All right. So let's aim, I guess, for Friday, for you to perhaps come back with a better understanding, I suppose, of what that could look like.
Framework or something
You,
like that.
yeah, so that you know that you can work on that over the next kind of few weeks, let's say.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. Alice, I have you next on my list.
Morning. I'm Alice Burrich. I run a HR consultancy called Peony and Magnolia. I've just hit 6 years of being a founder and juggling all of those balls at the same time as life. I predominantly, very interestingly, work with startups, scale-ups, SMEs, particularly because of the pain point. So it doesn't really matter how long they have been going, 5 minutes or 500 years, they always reach a point where they end up having an issue. So I work as either a fractional CPO coming in and working with a senior team. We could be doing a turnaround of a business, whatever. Sometimes they're longer term projects, sometimes they're shorter. I also then work sort of coaching and mentoring the HR teams, getting those people into the right places. I do project work as well. I call them my parachute projects. They are essentially very tricky employee relations problems. That can also be at quite a high leadership level, perhaps, putting it in a nice way, where we settle out people who are not quite right for businesses, or it can be lower level. A lot of that work comes through employment lawyers. Just to add, I do lots of things, but just to also add into the mix, a couple of years ago, I trained as a intuitive psychology coach. And this is because I think this is a solution to the big issues that I see in those parachute projects. The repeated behaviors, the not just the absences, but just the way that people are being impacted continuously. So that is how I want to be able to approach coaching. At the moment, I'm the only HR consultant that can offer this in the world. I was the first cohort to get this training. It's all accredited. So I had been bringing that into the workplace and working with leaders. It's a very different way. It's eyes closed coaching, and it drops very much into your body to help influence their kind of behaviors and decisions. I do offer that on a B2C basis as well, but that's the part that I want to grow. So that's why I'm here. And it's about looking how I want to, I've got an idea, but it's how I make that scalable. I need it to be automated. I need that part of the business to be developed. I've dipped my toe in. It's not quite how I want it to be. That's called the peony community. So that's what I'm here for, to develop that.
Okay, amazing. And I think hopefully just from these first two founders who we've heard from, you guys can see how you would also benefit massively from their background and experience and what they bring. So again, that's why it's so important to have your profile set up on the platform so that you can connect individually and just learn a little bit more about them. The platform will also automatically connect you to people who it thinks you can learn from. So when you put your profile information in and you say, you know, what you can offer and what you're looking for, the platform will help you to connect with exactly those people. So that's also the point here. We're not looking to new biz each other, but you know, if you need support across a certain thing, then please feel free to reach out, and you never know where that conversation may lead. Okay, Alice, thank you so much for that. That's really helpful. What would you like to get to by the end of this week, focusing on that community aspect of your business?
So I'm a pen and paper person. I appreciate that's going to need to change slightly. So I have a journal full of ideas from a few years ago where I plotted out exactly what I want. I am the kind of person that doesn't, if the idea comes and it's not the right time to do it, I leave it. So I want to go back, I want to pick that back up again. So by the end of this week, it's taking that and putting it into something that's not just lovely scribbles on a bit of paper, and also organizing my time because I want to be able to make the most out of this. And so it's about blocking out that time between now and Christmas. They're the two things for me.
Okay. So I would say for you that first module is going to be really, really helpful. And there are some workouts there. Print them out, and then you can do your pen and paper around that, so that when you're putting those thoughts together, you're framing them in a way that's going to be useful for you, is going to be best practice, so that you know that you're asking the right questions from a scalability point of view and from a sustainability point of view as well for you as a founder. That's kind of matching up. Okay, amazing. Thank you. Iman, I have you next.
Hello, lovely to meet everyone. So I'm Iman Lershed from Kuwait, and let's say most of my career was in nonprofits. I had my nonprofit organization that was so a youth mentorship organization, and it was one of the biggest in the GCC. And then I've done like a lot of like spin-offs, corporate training programs, and I just love to come up with also like ideas, and I make them happen. I'm into product development, and I've created a feminine hygiene company a few years ago. And then I went through a lot in my life, so I took a pause. Maybe like the past 2 years, I was like honestly like just working on myself, and I like felt that I was just like enjoying life as well. So I came up with like different things that I was gonna like that I want to work on, and one is a skincare brand that I came up with and I started to work on, and then I'm like I kind of forgot how to like like how can I like launch this. So I thought of like finding a space for me to like get my things, let's say launch my product, like launch it right basically. And that's why I'm here today. But I also have like other projects that I've been also working on, and I have my like a dogs adoption organization that is going as well at the moment, and I also want to like improve it and make it better. So at the moment, I just wanna, let's say, like the things that I wanna like achieve this week is to kind of organize my time between my skincare brand and my dogs adoption organization, and maybe like know how to prioritize things and move forward with it.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So I would say the same to you as I did to Alice. Those first few lessons within the clarity module are hopefully going to help you. I think as entrepreneurs and as founders, it is often very tempting to start doing lots of things all at once. Because once you get into this mode of creation and this mode of doing, and you get kind of caught up with your own creativity, as well as trying, for most people in this, within the Founder Sanctuary, are very purposeful, impactful businesses trying to help people, then there's lots and lots of ideas that will drop in, and it's kind of, oh my God, how do I focus on this? How do I prioritize? What's going to work best? And sometimes you do have to kind of try everything all at the same time, but you have to have a system to understand which one is going to work best for you, because it is unsustainable to try and run 2-3 businesses at the same time, unless you are CEO of a 300-person business and you've got a bunch of people who are reporting into you. So at this stage, there's nothing wrong with kind of hedging your bets, but you do need to give yourself some time and some frameworks to understand, okay, this is probably the one that's going to work best for me. It's the one that's the most scalable. It's the one that is perhaps the most profitable or most impactful, however you're going to judge that, so that you're not spacing yourself out, spreading yourself out too thin. So I think, you're definitely not on your own on that journey in this platform. There are plenty of us who are also at that point with different ideas and businesses. But I think the idea is very much to work through that clarity module to help you to understand what is the business that is going to be the most profitable and the most impactful for you, as well as for the people you're trying to help. Okay, so that clarity module is really kind of fundamental and key. So please don't skip that. Right, Melissa. I think Melissa joined a tiny bit late, so I'm sorry, you might have missed a little bit, Melissa. But
I'm sorry, it's my fault.
That's
I'm
all right.
actually on
No,
site
no,
today.
not.
We're in the middle of construction, which is why I've got my camera off, so
Oh,
apologies
okay.
everyone. But I still wanted to join and make sure that I was here. So I'm
Yes.
Mel. I am an experiential marketing specialist. I've worked in experiential marketing for nearly 20 years now. I have been freelancing, contracting, and working both inside brands, but also agency side for the 20 years that I just mentioned. But I have worked with a variety, whether it's small startups right the way through to big global corporates and big global tech brands. I 6 months ago decided that after spending 2.5 years in Dubai and working with the agencies out here, that there was a space and a need for something a little bit different and something new. So I decided to launch my own agency, which is called Just Honest. So we're still early days. There's a lot to do, as you can imagine, and we're learning every day. But the whole kind of ethos behind it is to be a lot more creative, more on the experiential side, and to try and kind of elevate the events offering within the region. That's me in a nutshell.
Okay. Amazing, thank you. And if there's a kind of key reason or key challenge for why I suppose you joined TFS, is there one thing that stands out?
I think obviously me being a new business founder, obviously I've worked with and inside other agencies and kind of brands before. It was that piece, but also to make sure that I've defined my goals correctly, that I'm kind of working the way that I need to, and that I've got the right structure and clarity in place to make sure that we can move and kind of scale forward.
Okay, perfect. If there's one thing that you would like to have achieved by the end of this week, is there something you could commit to?
I am committing to sitting down and looking at the goals and what we need to achieve by the end of the year, because I've still not done it.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I think it's this is a great time of year to join a platform like this, because we can all have 2026 in mind, and
Yep.
the good practice that we put in over the next 9 weeks, 12 weeks is going to set us up so well for 2026 and just give us that clarity moving into the new year. So I'm going to be going through many of these modules as well. Like, this is, as I said, I've done this multiple times for my businesses. This is how you start to get those fundamentals in place and build a business. So doesn't matter whether you're 10 years in, 6 years in, just at the beginning, we can all move through these phases and stages and help to set ourselves up for success in the future. Margareta, would you like to go next?
There you go. Sorry, I didn't find the audio. Hi everyone. I'm Margarita, or Margot. I'm originally from Hungary, Budapest, but I live in, at the moment, sunny London. So it's morning for us, and I am originally a political scientist. So I worked around 15 years in political communication strategy, working for the UK government in regulation in various roles. And somewhere along the line, this little girl inside of me who was always interested in human bodies and biology just realized that that's not necessarily what I want to do on a longer term. So I switched career a couple of years ago and I qualified as a health and integrative nutrition coach, but that wasn't enough. I went on and done functional medicine, and I thought that that was it. I wanted to be a coach. I started to coach in corporates, talking about resilience and women's health mostly because that's still my passion, but something just wasn't sticking. And I couldn't really put a finger on it, what's not working for me. And then I realized that it's just probably not my way. And I'm very intuitive in the sense like I'm feeling it in my tummy when something is for me, something's not for me. But it was very difficult to step away a newly built identity of coach and also mother of three into something potentially bigger. So I took approximately 2 years to come to the idea that I'm with right now. So we're about to launch potentially the world's first functional nutritional snack brands for children, teenagers, and families. And it all comes down to the frustration that me as a mother and a lot of mothers around me, moms who are worried about their kids' health and well-being. I just couldn't find nutritious snacks for my children because what's on the market at the moment just wasn't satisfying. And because I'm a nutrition geek, I'm actually reading the labels and I'm reading the additives and I'm reading all the ingredients in snacks. And whatever is sold to us at the moment worldwide as nutritious snacks, they are, believe me, they're not. So one morning I woke up, I was really frustrated again. I wanted to pack lunch business for my kids, and I was just really angry that I couldn't pack for my daughter who's neurodiverse, something that is filled with the right nutrients for her brain to be fueled. And I realized, well, it's not just my daughter who will have that issue. All the kids around the world will have that issue to being all the time filled with sugary snacks. So my husband just looked at me like, why don't you just do it already? Like just make one. As good husbands do, he stood by me. So this is where the idea came to create a product, but that is much better than anything out there on the market. Again, it took me another 7 months to get myself after the research to get out and step up as a founder. Like, yes, I'm going to do it. So to cut the story short, we decided to make the product, but make the product with a policy angle as well. So we're going to go into create a social impact strategy with the product, working with at the moment UK-based organizations helping children's education, neurodiversity, mental health, as well as food poverty for children around the UK. And we also going to link a community arm, which is going to be one of my biggest passions, is talking about health. So a podcast and toolkits for parents to create healthier life for their children, specifically related to mental health and neurodiversity, but not uniquely related to that. And then we're potentially bringing in a data arm, which will be everything around with obviously the consent of our consumers, building data around what people would like to consume, how they're consuming it, what helps really with well-being, how our products are changing moods and energy levels, and then feeding that into product creation. So it's really everything that I love is being a health geek, being a food geek, as well as a mom, helping the kids around us, but very much based on my policy background, making an impact in the world. So yeah, and what I would like to do this week is first of all cool the hell down because I do find like as much as I hate to admit, because I graduated from mental health coaching as well, I'm struggling to keep my cool because, as Helen said, like I'm trying to do everything at the same time. So what works for me is to do targeted actions during the week. This week I will start to pivot my LinkedIn profile towards founder profile, because I think my communication out there is quite scattered in terms of who I am and what I'm doing. So that's my goal for this week.
Okay. So that is something that we'll be moving through in the second module. You've talked about setting up a podcast. You've talked about your LinkedIn profile, your social media. I know that we spoke about that when we first met as well. The communications module is the one that focuses very much on that. It's about how to get yourself out there without spending a ton of money on expensive ads and SEO and all the rest of it. And then I think also the final module will touch on things like partnerships and sales processes and getting yourself out there in that respect. But I think for you, you know, you are relatively clear with where you are. I think it's more about how to do this in a structured, scalable way that isn't going to be overwhelming for you, because doing all of these things at once is going to scatter your energy. And actually for you, you need to focus on the fundamentals and the product first, and then start to build the other elements, you know, around that, so that you've got the messaging really clear.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think those first 2 modules will be key, but don't bite off more than you can chew. There's no need to. Just, you know, start with those first few modules, and first few lessons, and then we'll go through communications as we go.
Helen, on that note, I might need to book a one-on-one with you, because I would like to pick your brain on investors. This is going to be one of our biggest problem. And I know that you posted a lot about, which is already our problem. A lot of people are interested. Everybody wants the part. And we want to be very clear about how much we're willing to give up, and obviously doing a really good valuation of the business, because we can already see, like, obviously people are interested. And what I don't want to do is giving a lot of bits out of the company without being very strategic about it, of how much money I need to raise and how much I'm willing to give up. So I definitely need to pick your brains on that.
We will. I think you're not on your own there for sure. Funding is always going to be a question mark for founders. VC institutional funding is not always the way to go for 95% of startups. That is not going to be the way that you want to go. So I think I will invite somebody in. There's a couple of people I have in mind who are experts in funding, but not necessarily the typical kind of VC investment fundraising routes that you might have read about, heard about, and that seem very sexy and cool, but are actually a bit of a fucking nightmare in many respects. So we will run a session on that, I think, towards the end of the cohort, but certainly there's a couple of people I know are going to do one-to-ones with me on that as well. So yeah, that's fine. Okay, perfect. So yeah, take your time. We will certainly get to the LinkedIn profile stuff. We will certainly get to the funding stuff. But you know, I would work through those first few lessons at the beginning, just to make sure you've got those fundamentals in place. Okay, where are we? 3:10. Good. All right. Paul, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Paul Detman. I'm based in London, originally from Yorkshire. And it's my second time at the Founders Sanctuary. I had a different idea last time, but I'm focusing on getting out of my full-time day job maybe, and in the next few months, and focusing on doing something on my own. What that is going to be the focus of this week, and trying to define some of the things. So I know a lot of the stuff I don't want to do. I don't want any investors. That's absolutely clear. I've got a tech background, so I started my career as a software developer, and I've been in the tech space for a long time, let's say 20 years. But the last sort of 10 years or so, I've spent sort of sitting between the tech companies, technical side of a big company, and the business side, and translating between the two in a number of different ways. So more recently AI, but also cybersecurity, data, especially as a data analyst, and particularly in pharma companies, financial services, insurance, that kind of area. But I have worked in a lot of other companies as well, like car factories and credit cards and all kinds of stuff. So it seems like a few of us have the problem of being able to do lots of things, or being interested in lots of things, and not being able to focus perhaps on what the high value stuff is. You know, how do you differentiate between a job and a hobby? Those kind of things, which is particularly relevant to me. So I think I know what I don't want. I'm not sure I know what I do want, but I found this group very useful last time. People I'm still in touch with, and it does help to see that even people, most of you have run businesses for a few years at least, or at least a year or two, and you still have the same sort of issues that I've got in front of me, which is quite reassuring. So it's nice to meet you. Looking forward to it. And so this week, yeah, I'm going to write down what I think I want to do. And let's see where that goes. I think part of this is listening to people, and we've talked previously about testing your ideas as quickly as possible with as many people as you can, because sometimes something that looks good on paper doesn't really pan out, or people don't want what you think they want, you know, those kind of things.
100%.
That's me.
100%.
That's me.
And you know, that is you know, you say exactly, you're exactly right when you say that it doesn't matter really whether you've been running your business for a year or 10 years. You know, I've coached people who on the surface of things look like they're absolutely smashing it and are super successful, but cannot answer some of those key fundamental questions that are in that clarity section about their business, and therefore cannot grow, are just really stuck and kind of going around in circles and potentially going backwards as well, or really suffering from a mental health point of view because of that. So yes, it is a constant thing that you will need to check back on. You will need to go through these processes and frameworks probably every 6 months, because things will and should change within your business. The external environment will certainly change, and you need to be adaptive and flexible to that. And you may need to pivot. You know, I think, Paul, we went through a process with your initial idea. We've decided that isn't perhaps as profitable and as sustainable as we would like it to be. So we need to kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit. I don't think you're 100% back to the drawing board, but, you know, just to take a few steps back and see things on a wider sense. Paul also is an AI expert. And having been through the sanctuary once, you now have a pass into presenting a session yourself. So there's a few other people who will be in that boat. So Paul, I think we'll schedule a session on kind of AI setups for businesses as well, if you would like to, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, perfect. Cool. All right. Wahid, would you like to go next? Sorry, we can't hear you. No, can't hear you. Somebody had to do
Right,
it.
sorry
Someone
about
has
that. Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm currently based in Riyadh. I'm a freelance management consultant. There are 3 areas that I focus on, which is digital transformation, business improvement, and project and program management. I'm a senior advisor to a real estate client here in Riyadh. I took the decision to go freelance 18 months ago because I felt that was what was aligned to my values, which was independence and working for myself, etc., not being told what to do and so forth. I'm not a founder, but I have dabbled in things like real estate and so forth. What I would like to get out of the course is, I would say, to provide me with some clarity in terms of what I could potentially go on to do, which is aligned to my values. One of the notes that I've taken from Paul is that I know what I don't want, but I don't know what I do want. So I want to try and see whether whether I can answer that question. In terms of my objective for this week, so 18 months ago, before I moved to Riyadh, I was a bit of a fitness fanatic. So I used to visit the gym on a weekly, every morning, every week. And since I've been here, I've not been able to do that for some reason. And I think that's because of the climate conditions and so forth. So this week, I want to set myself a goal of visiting the gym. And if I get anything out of this course, then it's a case of, improving my health, my mind, my body, and soul. So if I don't, come up with a business idea at the end, then, it doesn't matter. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you, Wahid. And I guess that is, a very good space for me to remind everybody in the platform that this is not just about business growth. It is about personal growth. It's about mindset. And so much of that mindset comes from physical health, from spiritual health, from understanding ourselves a bit better. And there is no better way to do that than to carve a little bit of space for yourself to get your steps in, to get some movement in, to get to the gym if that's your thing, to get to a yoga class. And I will be sharing, I'm a Reiki master and CBT qualified, so I will be sharing some techniques and some meditations and some thought and mindset practices as we go through. So please keep an eye on the daily feed for those. This is a big part of being a founder or coming up with new ideas. You have to give your brain a break. You have to give yourself the space. It's not all about doing and making lists and working through worksheets and all the rest of it. It's about the process of getting there, and managing your mind as you go along. So that is such a key part of this platform. Wahid, I definitely think that you have a founder's mindset, let's say. I love the fact that you are values based. One of the first sessions that we had, the first mastery sessions that we had in the first cohort, was with a very dear friend of mine, Harriet Mandak. That recording should be on the replay sessions. It's definitely on our private YouTube channel, so I can share that. She's a values expert. There is a values workout as well in that first module. You'll see that. I think that is absolutely key to understanding whether your business works well for you, not just for the people that you're designing it for. That is a key element of building a business. If it doesn't work well for you on a day-to-day basis, you are going to fall over at some point, and so will the business. And so, yes, this, testing and trialing and all the rest of it to see what sticks is really important, but it's also got to stick with you, right? You're the person that's got to wake up in the morning and do the work. So make sure that you go through those sessions and those workouts. Okay, lecture over. Right, Ricardo, I think you are last but not least.
Thank you. So, Ricardo, I've been in corporate for nearly 30 years. I'm CFO of a company based in UAE. And I'm planning to my next phase. What else I'm going to do with myself. Corporate bore me now. I want something that is more meaningful to me. I've been working an executive coach as a mentor to entrepreneurs, and I also started working with a friend of mine on developing a resilient course for C-suites. What I really need to focus on is what's really my niche and my uniqueness proposition. Because coaches, executive coaching, there is 1,000 out there, and I want to find what makes me, differentiate me, and offer what I think it can be really helpful for people, and so that they can also be a pool. So the focus this week for me will be to focus on that, identify that more of that niche. So we go through some of the material, hopefully will be helpful for me on that one. And the other thing is to clarify a little bit more on my program that I'm developing for resilience on the content and how to pitch it to potential clients.
Okay, perfect. That's great. Thank you very much for sharing, and super happy to have you here. I'm going to add you to the WhatsApp group after this as well. I've got your number now, so that's cool. Yeah, I think, to an extent, we're all kind of asking the same questions, aren't we? It's what's going to work best, what's going to stick, what can I scale, who can I approach with this, who's my target? These are all really, really good questions to ask. And the first co-creation session, unless something else comes up that's more important, will be around putting together that pitch, that business plan, so that you know that you've got those key elements answered, you're clear on them, and therefore when you talk to, whether it's investors, whether it's clients, whether it's partners, whatever it may be, you've got a kind of blueprint that you can go back to, pull bits out of, perhaps create longer versions of it, shorter versions of it, video versions of it, whatever it may be that works best for you. But that is something that we all need to revisit as business owners pretty regularly. And I think a co-creation session around that has previously worked pretty well, and we'll give that another go. So that will be in, I think, two weeks' time, isn't it? Something like that. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody. I think we're missing a couple of people, but hopefully they'll be able to join us on Friday. If there's any questions in the meantime, please pop them on the WhatsApp. If I can't answer, hopefully somebody else will be able to answer those questions for you. And if there's any feedback, anything else you'd like to say, then please do message me directly, and I'll reach out to sort out those one-to-one sessions as well. But thank you, everybody. Best of luck this week. Do what you can. And we are looking forward to reconvening on Friday to see where everybody has got to.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you all. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.